Well, hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode of the From Chaos to Peace podcast, where I talk about how clutter is so much more than you think, and we put a spiritual twist on clearing that clutter to get organized. Thank you so much for allowing me back into your ears. Well, hello, my friend. I'm your host, Conny Graf. Welcome back to the podcast. This is the second special bonus episode this week. Episode 254A was the 5-minute decluttering session home edition. And this one is the 5-minute decluttering session office edition. I really want to encourage you to and motivate you to put into practice what you hear me talk about here on the podcast. So this is just a short 5-minute do it with me decluttering session for your office. And if you're driving, walking, or are on the go doing anything else while listening, keep listening so you know what to expect, but then come back and actually do the 5-minute decluttering session with me. Deal? I will be right here waiting for you. Okay, so in general, I have 3 key principles for successful decluttering. I talk about these principles in episode 253. And these three principles for successful clearing clutter and getting organized are 1, break your decluttering into small, manageable chunks. 2, start with the least personal area. And 3, a few minutes a day keeps the chaos away. Now, clearing the clutter in your workspace follows a slightly different approach than decluttering your home. So here is 3 principles for the office edition. 1, break your decluttering into small, manageable chunks. That's the same. But then 2, work from the inside out, starting with what I call zone 0 and move outward to what I call zone 4. And 3, again, a few minutes a day keeps the chaos away. Also, instead of just choosing a random area, how we do that in the home edition, we follow my Chaos to Peace framework. And that consists of zones, and today we just start with zone 0, which is the surface of your desk. Okay, without further ado, let's take action, because listening is great, but the real change happens when we actually do something, even if only for 5 minutes. And that's why you're here, I hope. So, step 1, I want you to go to your workspace and sit down as if you were about to start working. The surface here is what I call zone 0. That's where you work. And when I talk about from the inside out, that means you are at the center. And the surface that you work on, that is zone 0. That is the area that you are productive, right? But if you're like most of my clients, then this area is filled with stuff that actually really doesn't belong here. But again, this is your most important space because it directly impacts your focus and your productivity too. Because anything in your visual field is stressing you out, whether you're conscious about it or not. But for now, you can just open the clock app on your phone or use any timer and set it for 5 minutes, and let's clear your workspace. Okay, now we are at step 2. We sit here and we look around and we remove anything that doesn't belong here. For example, empty coffee cups, snack wrappers, or plates with cutlery that you used to eat your lunch while working, or anything else that doesn't belong here and that would belong into the kitchen or into the trash. Also, papers, notebooks, and sticky notes that are scattered everywhere but don't need to be here right now. Don't put them just in the trash, just put them somewhere else. Random office supplies and books or personal items I saw have clients having on their desk surface too. So what you want to do here is you make 2 piles. One pile is for trash and recycling, and the other pile is for items that don't belong here, that belong somewhere else. The goal is really to keep this zone 0, your desk surface, as clear as possible with only what you truly need to work. And nothing lives here permanently unless it's essential for work. So you want to think of it as setting boundaries. I have a podcast episode about that. I will link it in the show notes. I think of this like boundaries. Keep a boundary and don't let this stuff that distracts you come too close to yourself. And your desk surface is prime real estate, and only the most essential things get to stay, right? A clear workspace really gives you more breathing space, and it helps you focus better and be more creative. So let's do this for about 3 minutes, and I play some uplifting music. And while it plays, stay light and stay easy. Decluttering really doesn't have to be stressful. Remember, it is an act of self-care and self-love. And you're not just clearing physical clutter, you're making space for yourself, your business, your focus. You create a more supportive and more productive work environment. Okay, let's go. Hey, how are you doing so far? I think you're doing great. And hey, feel free to hum along, sway to the beat, or just enjoy the moment as you clear your space. Because remember, it's self-love and self-care. You do something to reduce your stress levels. Now we can move along a little bit and set up your work zone 0 for success. Now that you have cleared all that stuff that doesn't belong here, you have your 2 piles. Now let's intentionally place what belongs here. So the way I look at it, what really only belongs into zone 0 is your computer, laptop, your screen, if you have an external monitor, your keyboard and your mouse. Maybe a notebook or a notepad, a pen or 2, maybe a highlighter, your phone, but only if you really need it to work. Most people don't really need it to work, and it's just a distraction, so then keep it somewhere else. And you maybe want to have a water bottle or a glass of water, and maybe some nuts or some snacks, just that you can keep fresh and hydrated and your brain keeps working, right? So I play some more uplifting music and let you get these things together and set up your zone 0 for success, okay? 5 minutes are almost up. Now take your pile of trash and recycling and toss it in the right bin, like go and dispose it where it belongs. Then grab the items that belong somewhere else and not on your desk surface and put them in their proper places. And if they don't have homes, which happens a lot when I help clients, that they don't have homes yet, then just place them temporarily on a shelf or in a drawer, just away from your zone zero. Because remember, we want to keep zone zero as clean as possible so you can work better. We want to have boundaries from these things, huh? And just like that, you're done. Yay! Your 5-minute decluttering session, Office Edition with Conny, is accomplished. So now, of course, for the future and all the future days, your task is to keep your zone zero clear. And if it starts to clutter up again, which it happens to me, right? So what I do is I use the last 5 minutes of every workday and to get it back to clean and clear, right? So I have to do that too. We're working in the daytime. Sometimes we're leaving coffee mugs standing here because life gets a bit hectic. I may have recycling papers on the desk. I may have all kinds of stuff on the desk that doesn't belong here. But so every day, the last 5 minutes, I quickly put it back to clean and clear. Because this way, then the next morning, I come in my office and I don't have to look at clutter. I look at an inviting, clear space where I can go and do my magic as a business owner. And if you like company while you do these 5 minutes resetting episodes, you can just re-listen to this podcast episode, right? And I will be right here cheering you on. Now, as promised, if you're curious about why I call your desk surface the physical zone zero, and by also your computer desktop, so the first screen you see when you turn on your computer, that's the digital zone zero. So if you want to know more about my framework, my Chaos to Peace framework, and why I call this zone zero and what the other zones are, you can learn about that in my free guide that you can download. And you find the link in the show notes and click the link there. Thank you for joining me today and actually decluttering with me. You did that, right? You did declutter your desk with me, right? Okay, have an amazing week. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a new episode. See you next time. Take good care and be safe.